GoonerFam, what is good? How are you guys feeling? It's the first game of the new season, and we walk away with 3 points and 3 goals against Fulham away. I got Raul and Kyle, Durban Gooners with me. GoonerFam, tell me how you feeling, guys. Raul, you can go first since you logged on first.
All right. I feel that was probably one of the best starts we had in the past 3-4 seasons. I lifted up my spirits. You know what? After winning two cups, you expected this kind of performance.
Yeah.
You expected. The biggest thing I actually enjoyed is that we took the clean sheet and playing away. And to us, I think last season, those away games are actually the most crucial where we actually dropped those points. So
A lot of
I
points,
think at the beginning, it was a perfect start.
Yeah. What about you, Kyle? How do you feel about what you saw today? Like, long and short.
So firstly, like a lot of positives. Again, we said we're winning away. That's something rare. I mean, I think the commentator mentioned there, like how many games? I think like 6 or something we won the whole of last season. We're already off to a winning start away from home. So that's a positive straight off the bat. But again, what I felt is a big difference from the previous regime is I didn't feel like threatened. I mean, a lot of their chances, except for the one with Gabriel with the miscommunication, like that's our own error. I don't think they broke us down. They didn't get behind us, not once. I think we defended well as a unit as well. We didn't give them any clear-cut chances. Like I said, besides that one error, I didn't see any like threats to make me think, hey, these guys could potentially score. So for me, it's a lot of positives. We talk about like under Emery, how many chances we give opposition teams. And I mean, if you're giving opposition teams a lot of chances, they're going to score goals. Look at that game. We're away from home, but yet we're creating, and we're not giving away a lot of chances for other teams to score. So you walk away with the clean sheet, you score the goals, and it's 3 points to start off the first game of the season.
One might argue that, come on, guys, it's just Fulham. I mean, look at where they were just a few months ago, and they come and they face an Arsenal on the trajectory, but who have been playing in a top flight football, and they're just the division below. And now our first game, this is the result. Is it not? I mean, I know everyone's gonna say it's early, but is the result something to take confidence from, or do you think it's an exaggeration because of our competition in the match today, considering who they are? No disrespect to them, I mean, they did play their game, but I mean, would it? Our first 7 matches are really going to be super contentious. We got United, City, and Liverpool in the first 7.
100%.
So I mean,
and Leicester. Let's not forget Leicester.
Exactly.
Leicester is actually a good challenging top 4 team now. All of a sudden.
Exactly.
Let me just respond to that.
Okay.
Sorry, I need to jump the gun there.
No problem.
Go ahead, Kyle.
So my response to that is, at the end of the day, you got to play the team in front of you. It doesn't matter who it is. So maybe in the context of the whole season, we don't look back and reflect on this. But I think for us, again, we're starting off the season all right for 3 points, winning away. It's all you can ask from a manager. So again, this is not the big games that we want to be winning 100%. I agree with that statement. But at the end of the day, it's a league. You got to win all the games that you get, or you got to try to do as best in all the
And
games you
it
get, especially
counts.
the ones away from home. So when you look back at the season, we'll see what the 3 points make a difference. But right now, it's 3 points. It's exactly what you want. A clean sheet. You haven't conceded. And especially with the defense that is not. This is the first time I think that whole defense has played together, because we think about it. We've got Gabriel, Shittis. Those 3 don't really know each other's games as well. So I mean, just to throw them into a away game, you can see Fulham from the get-go are up for it. So again, for me, I think you can't ask more from the manager besides 3 points and a clean sheet away from home.
100%. What I would like to add to that conversation is that when you look at the after interview of Lacazette, he talked about he respected what the coach wanted and they delivered. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to create the perfect team. And during the course of the perfect team doesn't mean the team that is perfect now that will last throughout the season. The perfect team is the perfect team for the moment in time against opposition. And that's the main thing you find out with Arteta. Arteta, you can see he tweaks his game. He has his preferences, but if you look how he played, I mean, I didn't expect El Nini to actually start. Fair enough, I saw him in the
last the
community shield.
full 90 minutes. You know?
I know, 100%. But look now why he played next to Granite.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the thing, is like, as much as you can say we played against a weakened opposition, but personally, when I feel any opposition that comes from the championship, to me, I personally believe they're still good opposition, because championship is dogfighting. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They have a lot more games, and it's more of a physical.
Yeah.
It's more of a physical league on comparison to the Premier League. So I think they're still worthy opponents. But definitely, if you look at the team, we had so many changes in our team. We had William that actually started. We had Holding. We had Gabriel sitting in the centre back.
Yeah.
Tierney playing in three in the back. Alneni. And so definitely, I think if you had to put it with Fulham and you had to put it with our starting 11, which has changed quite a bit, I think it was actually a good return, a good game, a good outcome of what we expected. 100%.
For sure. So you mentioned Gabriel, you mentioned William. Those are two debutants, for us. We've never seen not only that kit, but also them in that kit. How do you feel about them? From what you saw from those two particularly.
100%. I saw leading towards the game during the course of the week that we found out that Luis was actually sidelined because of a neck injury, a progressive neck injury, and so on. Yeah. And I actually thought Liba would start in the back. I was shocked when I saw Gabriel starting. Personally, I think as a defender, as a debut defender, especially for the first game in the season, I mean, quality. That was quality. You can't ask for anything more. You clean sheet and you got to go.
Never mind that misunderstanding in the beginning, right? We completely forgot about that.
100%. Like, you can see he's a quality player. I mean, sometimes just that little incident would have actually progressed in the game, where if you didn't have that confidence to take those passes and so on. You can see during the course of the game, he was actually trying to spray the ball. There's passes that were going side, but he was still passing the ball going forward as well. I mean, that's a good mark of a strong defender, where the first impression is not to get the ball and look for the the goalkeeper. It's to look forward and look for the midfielder to help him or pass it to pass it wide. So that is actually a good trait of a good defender. So definitely, especially him playing it as a left-footed defender. And there was a small little article where Arteta likes those kind of players, especially in his position, because it opens up a lot more avenue for passes.
Yeah. And then for him to even go further and score on his debut, I mean, apparently hadn't played a competitive match since March.
Yeah, but you can see he likes that. He likes that physical presence about him. You can see he likes that physical fights in the small box. You can see he likes the headers. The man's a beast. I can see good things coming.
No, same here.
Just to add on viewing there. So one thing, what I saw and what I liked about a lot of the guys who are going for, if you look at Gabriel, he's a big boy. He's a unit. And he has that presence as well. I think a lot of our centre backs maybe didn't have that. He's a tall boy. I think he's like 6 foot, and he's quite stocky. Beginning of the game, I actually saw him. He won one towering header. I think it was over that guy. I don't know how to say it's Kamara, but he literally hit over him, and it was a powerful header. So when I look at that, I could see, wait, this guy's got something about him. But I think initially at the beginning of the game, it was a bit shaky. I think that chance as well, if we had conceded from that, I think his confidence might even hit a bit. But what I liked about him is, even though he didn't make his passes going forward, he still tried to attempt them and slowly built into game, slowly building small little passes, and he progressed and grew himself into the match, which I liked about that. As a young boy first Premier League game. I mean, that's what you want to see from the guy. Back yourself. Obviously, the manager. I could hear the manager in Portuguese. I don't know if you guys caught that at all. Shouting to him as well, just giving him instructions about where to move left. But I know Raul
You speak
said
Portuguese?
Yeah, so I went to Brazil, man. So,
oh, okay. I was like, how did you?
Yeah, man.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
go.
So the other thing about it, what I liked is, so I know you thought he might not play, but the only reason why I thought he might was, if you look at on our attack, we like to go to a 4-3-3. So we push Tierney out to the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And you can see Arteta likes that balance to have, because essentially when you're passing with your strong foot, you want to have that balance. When you're passing to the wing with your strong foot, it always makes you want to push forward as opposed to go backwards. So if your strong foot is always at the keeper side, you'd always tend to go backwards, not actually turn and try progress it because you get pressed.
100%.
So I think from that thing, Arteta's on the front foot. He wants us to go forward, and that's a great thing as well. I know one thing you guys also touched. I don't know if you touched on there, Rahul, but I think El Neni, the man, went out on loan. I didn't really watch much of his performances, but I just praise about what he did. The only reason why he didn't go back there was they didn't want to pay his wages, but all the clubs in Turkey wanted him. They just couldn't afford his wages because of the whole pandemic story. So, as anything, I mean, I remember we sent Chambers out on loan. He had a good performance. I think he should be given a chance. Likewise, El Neni, same story. He went out on loan. He performed. It's all you can ask for a guy when you send him out on loan. So give him his chance. If it's not what you want, then maybe you get rid of him. But I think right now, as you guys can see, he is producing the goods. I want to see.
Can I add something to El Neni there, Carl?
Yeah.
El Neni under Arsene, and I think a little bit of a spell under Emery. El Neni was reduced to only passing the ball sideways. Did you not see the key pass that actually brought in the first goal? Actually came from Mohamed El Neni as well. It was actually a brilliant ball over the defense. We never used to see those kind of balls.
Yeah.
I think after the loan spell, he came back with a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
You could see he was actually calling for the ball.
Yeah.
And there was times where I felt that he put himself in a position where he called for the ball just before the end of the big box, and he was getting pressed. But instead of him trying to just kick the ball, he was very comfortable passing it and finding the pass. So
for sure.
I don't know. I feel it could actually be a very good thing that we actually have him, because
competition in that midfield.
Competition in that midfield, 100%. Because now you got El Neni, you got Granit, and you got Guendouzi that can more or less play almost the Ceballos, 100%. But like that centre midfielder that sits just before the defenders.
Yeah,
El Neni can play that as well, because even though he's not the most defensive guy, you can't argue about his work rate, because I think watching him over the 90 minutes, the man was still running. He was still running. He wasn't jogging in the game. So definitely it could be a plus point at the moment, because I know we want to bring in Partey, but for Partey to come in, there's going to be a lot of guys that have to move out to get Partey.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't know. That's also a risk behind that.
Like just on that. So again, I feel this is the type of game where you'll see El Neni shine. I don't think they were very physical in the middle of the park. I think if we have to come up against a lot more presence in that middle of the park, I don't think he'll Granit. He's a presence. You can see he's up for the battle every single time. But I don't feel that from El Neni as well. So I think not having that other strong character in midfield that can drive with the ball, it kind of suits his game a lot. And what I liked about it, so you touch on the passes going forward. I saw a lot of the training videos that Arsenal were releasing. That's the type of stuff that Arteta was getting him, like inside and then put it in behind for the guys to run in. So it seems like he's also like that perfect schoolboy, the man that brings the pen and paper always to training, because he's the type of guy that whatever the coach says, he does it. And it's always nice to have a blank slate, that type of character in the dressing room that's going to listen to your manager. Because when the manager's looking for players, trust me, he's probably going to turn to El Neni like he did today. And don't be surprised if you see him there in the future as well.
I just have to mention that we've got another gentleman from the Joburg fan club, Mwavile, also another big time Gooner. I'm surprised not at the brazen head with Kish, but thanks for joining us, Mwavile. We're just exchanging notes, and you're rocking that third kid. It's only me. I'm behind. So Mwavile, we've just been chatting a bit, man. I'm with Raul and Kyle. They're in Durban right now, and
how's it, gents?
How's it, my brother?
I'm all right, man. Now I'm also a Durbanites, obviously, but I'm based in Joburg now. But yeah.
No, it's great to have you here with us, man. So long and short, man, tell us how you feel about what you saw on the pitch today. I know you got some really insightful views. How do you feel about
Yeah,
Arsenal after watching us decimate Fulham 3-0 on opening day of the new season?
I think. Yeah, look, I mean, we're usually quite patchy, when it comes to the opening day of the season. I think this is probably one of the more comfortable results we've enjoyed in quite a while, probably in the past 6 years, if you have to really think about it.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, I was quite impressed, especially with some of the new signings. Look, I mean, obviously, we still have some deficiencies in some areas which I'm still quite concerned about. I still think we're quite soft in the middle, and that's still quite one of our weaknesses. But I really like the look of Gabriel. Look, obviously, he made a mistake quite early on in the game, but I
yeah,
think post that, he really grew in confidence and
yeah,
looked actually quite good. He literally looked like our best centre back already. Just in
yeah.
terms of his physique, his
Presence.
athleticism, his pace, his reading of the game,
Contribution to the game
his contribution.
in general,
He was
yeah. Mm,
comfortable on the ball,
mm,
and we actually really had a centre back, a good, strong, quick centre back in a while at Arsenal. And obviously, yes, he's still going to make quite a lot of mistakes. It is his first game. He's still probably going to need to learn how to communicate, because I think one of his key problems is probably going to be communication with the rest of
Yeah.
his
mm,
two partners. That's if he's playing in a back three, or the centre back partner if he's playing in a back four. Um, but yeah, look, I think first up, he looked very promising. And then Willian as well looked very, very strong today. Did
yeah.
quite a lot of things well. He carried well. He dropped in deep, was able to carry the ball for us whenever we needed like that extra man in the middle. He was able to almost come inside, collect the ball, turn, and beat some of the midfield players or the position midfield players and open things up and lay off the ball, which is something that none of our midfielders can really offer. So he really almost did that number 10 role at times, especially in the first
Yeah.
half.
Well, this is
Yeah,
cam roll.
yeah, yeah. So you would drop in and operate in the number 10 role. So it's looking quite promising, especially in those forward positions. The competition looks good quite there, and we look like we've got quite a lot of options. But yeah,
Mhm.
I think this mustn't really gloss over the fact that I reckon we need at least one more central midfield, if not probably two. And the two guys we are linked are that we have been linked to the whole window in OR and Party. I think if we can get them, we would really look or I'll be really more optimistic about us being able to push for the top four. But I mean, obviously, this is early doors,
Mm,
and a lot of the teams, like us, they're still getting into the swing of things, to the rhythm of things. Fulham are a side that are probably expected to go straight back down, so we also
mm.
mustn't really get too caught up in that. I think really our first big test is going to be Liverpool at
Mm,
Anfield, and it's
yeah.
probably going to be one of our best chances to beat Liverpool away, because there's going to be no fans. I'm
Mm,
hoping that we would be coming off a string of decent results, and that
yeah.
would have won obviously the two games prior to this match, and hopefully we can get a good result also against West Ham and come in with a lot of confidence, and basically with maybe a signing or two, but that looks very, very unlikely, and maybe we can get some of our central defenders back on the mend and have a few more options at the back, because that's obviously the one area of concern, is that maybe if we lose like a Rob Holding, let's say, we are looking quite short
Yeah.
there at the back. So yeah.
So one thing that we were still getting onto, which you touched on, was Willian. I remember at the start of last season, a lot of people were quite upset that we were buying yet another
Oh,
Chelsea.
oh, oh,
Um, I won't say reject, just let go from Chelsea. And this season starts again with us with yet another Chelsea former player. But his contribution to the game today, 3 assists on your debut. I mean, I read an article as well earlier stating that William wants to be the guy who takes our team forward. He's taking that responsibility, and that's something that has really dazzled our coach. And when we watched the match, I mean, I personally was excited to see his contribution because I've always been an admirer of his, and for him to walk away with 3 assists, first game for us, I feel like he might be a true game changer in the long run. And I just want to understand or know generally how you guys feel about that that player in particular, after seeing what we saw today, who wants to take it first?
I can go. I can go.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I'll be honest. When we were linked with Willian, again, I just felt there were other positions that we could have targeted over him. I understand. For me, Chelsea, he was Chelsea's best player towards the end of the season with Pulisic as well. So he was when a lot of good things came for their team, it was either him or Pulisic. So it was always dangerous. And he's one of those people that when he's got the ball, he always does try under the defender as well. So just for me, I mean, if I'm just mentioning that type of attributes already, we know we've got players in those positions. So I just felt for as our team, there's other positions where we could have. I know you mentioned two central midfielders. I think maybe committing our wages, committing our finances to that would have made more sense at the time. But again, when you look at him today, again, it's hard to put him up against Pepe. Pepe also looks like he's up for the season. So Willian, I don't know if it creates competition for him or what it is, but I think it just gives us options. He can play the number 10 role, like you mentioned as well. So maybe when we do get a nice sitting midfielder, we can maybe play him in that pocket as well, just with the extra bit of speed, the creativity, and as well, one thing we forget to mention is he's from dead balls. Oh my goodness, the man has got a gift of a foot as well. So I mean, look at that chance that he missed, hit the post. That we don't usually take advantage of that. You can see he's one of those players that when it's over there, the players, the opposition team. I mean, you saw them. Their whole team was firstly in their box. They had a man trying to lay behind the wall.
There was a man lying down.
So I mean, it's really you're committing a lot of people to that ball already, just because he's on it, because you know he can make things happen. So. Yeah, I'm happy with his performance again, but I just feel the other positions for me would have been a priority. But of course, in addition, they can make the squad better. We take it at the point in time, you know.
What about you, Raul? How do you feel? How do you feel, bro?
You know, what I appreciate, Arteta has mentioned that our squad there's an imbalance at the moment as well.
Yeah.
And what he's introducing, and you can see the same thing with bringing in Lewis, David Luiz, and obviously William, is that he's trying to bring in some guys that have won titles, that have won the Premier League, but also to nurture and bring up the talents of like the Bullocks, the Rios Nelsons, even to a certain extent the Turney's. But I mean, that's a nice thing, because as much as we feel that William is in the last few years of his professional career, must understand we still got. It's also Aubameyang that's on his last year of his last big contract. Lacazette's also going on his last big contract as well. But the balance is there, because I always felt with the Arsenal team, and this is going under Wenger years, where the team was always too young. And, you know, as much as they were young, hungry, they never had the experience of winning things.
In the long run,
and 100%. And I think Arteta is actually bringing that whole nice balance towards it. I do agree with Carl when it comes to it wasn't the position I felt that should have been filled first. I think if we were going to make a statement, we should have brought in the party first, or, you know, that DM, because we actually do lack a very strong DM, or we don't have enough cover over DM. But when just looking at the game, guys, I felt that the man, for a person of that kind of age, that explosive energy is next level. As he gets the ball, he can turn around.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think it was actually a good signing. I felt sometimes bringing competition will also bring the best out of Pepe. And let's be honest, with that big price tag Pepe had, there was already a lot of pressure now. So the fact that that position just gets shared between the two players, I feel that we're going to always get the best out of that position, that wing going forward. Definitely, because you know what? The nice thing is, because William tracks back much better than Pepe, it brings a different dynamic to the team as well. Because if you look at Pepe's more forward thinking, when he gets the ball, he won't cut in. He wants to go to the side, then cut in. William is different. William will grab the ball and he gives you two options. He's going to go wide, or he's going back into the number 10 role. And you see, that's a nice thing, because now our game plans can.
Yeah.
Fulham with the Fulham game plan. But my phone died.
Okay.
Raul, we can still hear him. Okay, now he's cut.
Yeah, now it's gone. Okay, so I'm hearing a lot of positives, right? And
Yeah. So
okay, yeah, you can
yeah.
continue.
Yeah, so I was gonna just add on to say that I also obviously at the beginning, and I shared that I wasn't really too happy with Willian signing just purely because of all the reasons that Raul and also Carl have mentioned, and also I told you that look, I was also not happy with the length of the contract. If they had said like a 1 year with an option to extend for another year, I would have been like, okay, cool. You know, we can come in, mentor some of the youngsters like Reese, like Bukayo Saka, Pepe,
Mm,
you know, because
mm,
these guys, we've got quite a lot of young lads, Joe Willock, etc. In those positions. Obviously, we'll add in some of that experience and that winning mentality. But
mm,
obviously, I wanted us to strengthen first and use some of that wage bill to strengthen the key areas that we really, really need, which is, for me, yes, a defensive midfielder, just purely
mm.
because we don't really have the legs and we don't have the athleticism and the legs in that position, or nor the creativity. So for me, yes, getting two centre mids, one either that can play a 10/8, and maybe one that can play a 6/8. So in yes, your Thomas Partey is priority number one,
Mm.
and we should really push hard to get him. And then if not, then obviously then look to get a number 10 as well. But William does kind of cover that. And if we are going to go with this formation going forward, look, a number 10 might not necessarily be a priority at the moment. But if we do want to go back to a 4-3-3, which I think is probably our optimal formation with the players with the other players that we've got, obviously barring the lack of the midfield weakness that we've got at the moment, that I think would be probably the formation that Arteta would want to use going forward.
But the question I wanted to ask is, okay, I'm hearing a lot of maybe like we all like in jovial spirits because three goals, 3 points, new season. But did anyone put in anyone's opinion that you're back with us, Raul? Did anyone see like a player who put in a bad performance? Who would you guys say was like
Yeah.
our worst
So
player on the pitch today?
so I'll go first, and it's not purely because I think a lot of the guys had solid performances today. There was no one who was glaringly poor. But for
Mm,
me, I think Ainsley didn't have a particularly good game, and that's
mm.
out of for me in more the attacking aspects. I think defensively he was fine. He was tracking his men. He was winning his challenges, recovering well. If anything,